Hey there, everybody. I'm CCP Dolan here with CCP Rise, bringing you the 11th match of Day 2 of the NEO2 2 with the Ditanian fleet in red versus raging Homo Sapiens in blue. We've got another Paladin after our last match.
Yep.
Let's see if this one will fare any better. Why don't you tell us a little bit about the subs they
So
brought?
I actually like this one's chances a lot. The Ditanian fleet has a Paladin, Absolution, a Demos, and then a bunch of Frigs, including some Frig logistics. And then on the Raging Homo Sapien side, we have Nighthawk, Scimitar, Drake, 3 MOAs, Bellicose, Jaguar. So that's kind of a high DPS MOA cruiser setup. And I have to mention quickly before we get started, one of the Inquisitors on the Ditanian fleet side warped to the wrong beacon, so he's moved to 0. So he's starting right at the center of the arena. That's probably fine, actually. The MOAs are pretty far away, so he can probably just burn to his fleet, but it is worth letting you guys know in case he disappears.
As I mentioned earlier today, there is a Drake now, so now it's a tournament. It's
oh my gosh, I didn't even notice that. And it's Endless Subversion, who's actually an incredibly good pilot, unless he sold his character, which is possible, because he was kind of bitter.
We see here this Daredevil charging in.
Yeah, that is a brave Daredevil, and not going to work out so well for him.
Okay, okay, maybe. That was an interesting choice. Now the Jaguar. Everybody get in there. What's going on?
I mean,
quick.
Piloting is really important.
If we just all come in one at a time.
Weird.
No, the Anion's already in there, but he's about to evaporate into a pile of dust.
No,
he's catching reps.
Unlike most of the other Marauder using teams in this tournament, the Ditanian fleet team actually started their Paladin at 50. What's interesting is the rest of their team started closer. Not only the Inquisitor who was penalized, but the rest of the team was at around 30, so they're just kind of hiding the Paladin behind everything. I would think that they would want it out in front, but that's not what they're doing. So he's back there. You can see the Scorch every once in a while shooting into the middle of the fray, but everything else kind of just piled in, it looks like. And those MOAs and that Drake are shredding through the support so far, and now the Demos looks like it's in trouble.
Absolution is caught. Inquisitor getting shot. No damage on Raging Homo Sapiens.
No, I mean they're doing damage to that MOA. I'm sure it's not a small amount, but it's definitely small enough that the Scimitar can handle it pretty easily. And you can see now there's damps on the Scimitar. Maybe he'll have to adjust his position, but actually there shouldn't be any reason that he doesn't mind just coming in close.
Yep. There's nothing here that's really going to mess with him unless he gets caught by the Demos, maybe.
Yeah, but I don't think that's the problem. This Paladin is just far away. That's the bulk of their damage at this point is coming from that Paladin, and he's far away. Moa can obviously tank him fine.
The bulk of their damage at any point was the Paladin, and like the Paladin is really not putting pressure on anything. It's just sort of like just sitting in the back doing DPS, not even up forward, trying to provide some positional control. There's like they could have maybe stayed around the Paladin, made stuff come to hit them, split them up a little bit. But
Demos down for the Ditanian fleet. I think this match, I mean, it seems like a really strong Caldari setup, actually. I don't think that this was like necessarily going to go a different way no matter what, but this definitely highlights the difference in piloting and FCing between some of the teams in the tournament. Seeing that support dive in early, I'm sure that it was very simple, just there was a target called, a primary called, and no matter what ship everyone was in, they just hit approach, turned the micro warp on, and flew towards that target, which is understandable. There's a lot of fleets where that's exactly what you should be doing, but in this environment, that just means they show up staggered to a bunch of MOAs who are totally happy to shred them to pieces one by one.
And it's like the MOAs and the Drake and the Nighthawk are all wanting to be fighting at different ranges. Like you want to like stay back, make the MOAs come to you to fight, and then like eat them, and then push out and get the Nighthawk.
And I mean, in a more simple sense, the MOAs are very range restricted. They have an optimal bonus, but they'll be blaster MOAs, so they'll have something like 10k effective range, and you really can't go in there, like unless you have a really good reason to. If you're a support ship, you just can't get that close to those guys, especially if they're not busy doing something else. Like you can't just run into their arms, even if you kind of are wanting to get to a particular target. When we see really good teams fight, a lot of time these support wings, ships like Jaguars and Daredevils, spend a lot of the match away from the main fight. They're off to the sides trying to pick things off, get important tackles, but generally stay alive.
And also, like, you don't know if that Drake and the Nighthawk are rapid light missile launcher Drakes and Nighthawks. Like,
it's possible.
There's potential there. Like, who knows?
But just the Paladin left now. I do actually think they'll be able to break this Paladin in 6 minutes. They'll have to fly over to him. It looks like They're making their way over there now. He's not moved since the beginning of the match, I don't think. He came in, like I said.
I wonder if he's their FC, so they wanted to put him in the back of the team, so make sure he stayed on field. Like overcorrection for their mistake last time.
It's funny how backwards I think this is. Like with the Marauder teams, I mean, other than the Marauder we saw dying, in every other instance, what you've wanted to do is have the Marauder block for the rest of your team and then work hard to keep the rest of the team alive. I think the best Marauder usage we've seen was the, what do they call, We Hurt team, who had, like we were talking about, Caracols, Cerberuses that could fly around, just try to stay alive as long as possible while the Marauder could do its work. And in this case, they've done the opposite.
He's Bastion, or no? Is he?
Shield boosting. That's a shield boosting paladin.
What?
And an armor repping paladin. Dual tank paladin.
Some next level stuff going on.
I mean,
here.
that's a lot of potential tank because it gets the bonus to both because it's through the module, not through the ship. So it's getting, 100% bonus to both of its double tanked options there. One problem it's going to have is cap, I think, because it's using a lot of slots around that tank. The other thing it's going to hurt is its damage output and its damage application, which, well, I suppose usually it would be armor tank, so the mids maybe would have tracking computers. Actually, it does have a tracking computer, so that's probably just one ASB jammed into one of the mids.
Okay.
Not a terrible idea. I mean, probably not what most people would do if they're if they're breaking your armor. That ASB most of the time probably won't save you, but I don't think that's the worst idea.
I would be interested to see if this is perhaps a new incursion fit. That's some next level stuff going on. The dual tanked paladin. No, I don't think it is. But who knows? But
again, though, that's a strange. If you're gonna double tank your paladin, why not put it in the center of the arena and try to get people to shoot at it?
Or like just jamming all your support, your very limited support, because you have an Absolution and a Demos directly into 3 MOAs.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, there's better plays to be made.
There are, but I don't think that's unusual. I think we're calling a primary, everybody go for the primary is very basic kind of Eve strategy, and it takes experience to get away from that. I mean, it's not automatic that every team would be able to make adjustments that quickly if they're this new to the tournament and potentially this new to PvP. I mean, these guys are experts at incursion running first and foremost, likely. Who knows what their PvP experience is, but it takes a while to know when you can charge in and when you can't, and this was a time when you certainly can't.
With the Paladin about to go down, I'm just going to
Maybe. He's boosting in armor and shields. He might not go down for a while.
Well, he's slowly losing chunks of structure. I'd like to point out that I'd like to ask CCB Pro to stop yawning right next to me while I'm casting, because it's very infectious, especially when I'm waiting for a Paladin.
You should yawn more during that.
I should just...
That's really good, I hear.
Yeah.
Like as broadcasting
good for
strategy.
Audio, everything.
Like really gets the audience excited.
Yeah. I should just really like the Paladin. It's still boosting in armor.
You know,
well, you're not really following along.
I was going to talk more about dual tanks, but nice match. Raging Homo Sapiens moving on past the Ditanian fleet. Hopefully see them again. They did some interesting things, and hopefully they had fun.
Should make some changes, see what they thought they did wrong, come back, and try better next time.
Yep. All right. See you guys in just a couple minutes.